Welcome back, Juicers, to this episode of the Morning Juice Podcast, where this week we welcome Bethany, who has had her struggles with mental health, anxiety, and depression. She also talks about some films that she's been working on that are going to be shooting right here in the Nashville area. If you want to learn more about them, check the description below and use the links and follow along. But now let's get ready for your host, Juice, and his guest, Bethany.
Welcome back to the Morning Juice. I'm your host, Juice. Today with us, our guest is Bethany. How you doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. She's here to tell us her story of mental health story that she has. We haven't had many mental health stories here lately, so it's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day because this relates to me anyway. Because this is my journey also. So where would you like to start out?
Probably the beginning would
Let's
be a good
go.
spot to start. So I'd always had anxiety as a kid, especially in social situations. I was very shy and awkward. And senior year of high school, I was raped. And about a month after that, developed severe debilitating anxiety and depression. I basically missed the last 3 months of senior year of high school. I was there enough to take the test, pass, somehow by God's grace graduated. Had already gotten into college, so I didn't really have to worry about that. And I didn't tell anyone for 2 years until I told my RD in college one day, because she'd have breakfast where we'd come over to her apartment, and she basically was talking about God's love, and I was like, yeah, I don't feel that anymore. I'm not worthy of love. This is what happened. That was the first time I had told anybody what happened. I was like, well, that makes sense, because 6 weeks after it happened, massive anxiety and depression. So then I finally got put on anxiety meds, and I got off of them in March. Finally, so I've 7 months now, 8 months almost, without being on any meds for anxiety, depression. I still have really bad. And then also with after the rape, a couple of weeks into it was just feeling really down and depressed, and my family obviously didn't know what was going on because I couldn't talk to them about what happened. And that's the first time I tried to commit suicide.
So you didn't tell your parents at all?
I did not tell my dad. Only knows because, and he doesn't know all the details, because we made a film right when the Me Too movement was coming out in 2018. My counselor recommended I do a film that shares my story through that without.
Yeah.
So my dad, I don't think he's actually seen the film, but he knows a little bit what happens. My mom and sister know now all the most of the details, but my dad still doesn't know.
After that happened, about 6 weeks later, you got the depression, anxiety.
Yeah, really bad. And I cut myself. I don't handle blood apparently very well, so I passed out, and so that stopped that into that. I mean, I still have the scars, but that into that one. That into the self.
See, I did that for years. That was my bread and butter, because I would have the thoughts in your head. Mm-hmm. You're not worthy. You suck. Yeah. The world hates you. Your kids hate you. Mm-hmm. You're fake. I mean, it was all that. And then I would just go in the bathroom and just, that way I could shut. That was the only thing I could control. I couldn't control what was going on up here, so I would control it by my legs. So, but yeah, if you pass out from blood, that pretty much eliminates self-harming.
I mean, and then a couple of years later, I discovered I could stab myself with my nails, and it was enough to still control something. Yeah. But it didn't involve blood. So we were good. Yeah, I didn't know I had that thing with blood until that happened, and maybe it was my own blood. I can see other kids' blood, and I'm fine at work, but my blood.
Right.
And then was doing pretty well. I lived in LA as an actress, and LA is a very, very, very dark place to live. I don't recommend moving there if you have anxiety and depression. And I was doing well. I booked stuff, and then I wasn't getting things for a year. I had roommates that basically were emotionally abusive, mentally abusive, every kind except physically abusive. And I made a plan. I was on my 24th birthday, I was having friends over. We did a murder mystery, and I said that night I was going to go home and take all of my, I have POTS, so I take heart medication. So I was going to take all of my heart pills, and just didn't involve blood that time. And, and literally I had my roommate, I had given her a note. I said, read this tomorrow. My birthday, 2 friends from college drove 3 hours and they drove up and surprised me. I didn't know they were coming. Yeah. And that was enough to be no, people do care about you. And I remember telling my friend a couple of weeks later, I was like, you don't even know, but like you saved my life that night. And she's like, well, we just came for your birthday. I'm like, no, like you literally saved my life
don't know
that
what
night.
Really
like,
was going on.
I had a whole plan, and so that was, how old am I? So I was like, let me do math. So I was like 10 years ago. And since then, like I've still struggled with anxiety and depression off and on. And like the depression, what it happens, as you were saying, like it will come out of nowhere. You'll have like a great day. Like Wednesday, I was like, I'm feeling great. Got like a haircut, got some face stuff. Like I was like, I'm just feeling really great. And then Thursday morning, I woke up, I was doing fine. And literally like a half hour later, I was just like, and then it just started spiraling. And I was like, don't know like what's going on. And I mean, I still struggle a lot with Friday the 24th was the anniversary of the assault. So like I had posted a video like sharing about it, but also like more just sharing like the hope with people, because I was like, I want them to get that out of my story,
right.
not this. And so I don't know if it's just like residuals from that or just, but yeah, Thursday was not a good day. And we even had like a Zoom for the movie we're doing for like the family to get to know each other. And like on it, I was still like, oh, you know, everyone's like happy, and I'm like having to be like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
and inside,
that mask,
I'm like,
that mask on.
Inside, I'm like, I really don't want to be here right now. Like, I don't want to talk with people. Like, it's a hard day.
I'd rather just be laying in bed with my head covered up.
Yeah. But I know, like, I'll get, and then those thoughts start invading. Like, I'm not good enough. Who am I to think I'm making a movie? Like, no one's going to look up to me. Like, why am I even sharing my story today? Like, that spiral is, but I'm here. I'm pressing on every day.
Absolutely. And what people don't understand with depression is it don't go away. Mm-hmm. Like you use coping skills, and you use your medication if you're on it. You use prayer, meditation. Like you use a whole lot of stuff, because like it's a disease. Once you have it, you got it. It don't just evaporate. Like it's there. You just learn to deal with it and to acknowledge it. Like I'll have bad days. I'm like, okay, today's not going to be one of them days. Today's going to be one of them days where I'm just going to, I got to get through it. I just got to fight through it. And then I'll do what I got to do, and tomorrow will be better, you know? And so like, I totally get that, because even in the field that I work in, where I have to give 100% to clients that have depression, suicide ideation, self-harm, addiction, and you come in and you're at 60%, but they need you at 100.
They need you at 100. Yeah, you have to put it aside.
Yeah, they ask me all the time, because sometimes I'll shut my door right before I go in the room with them to teach, and they're like, "Why you shut your door?" I was like, "Because I have to meditate and I have to get my thoughts together, because what I'm doing for y'all is so important. I got to make sure I'm giving y'all 100% of everything I got. You know, even if it's 100% or 60%." I need to give you 100% of it.
Yeah.
So like, I understand that. And like you said, it's just weird how it happens. You'll have 2 weeks on a good spout, and then all of a sudden there'll be a text, a song. It could be a song. It could be an anniversary on a day. And you're just like, what now?
Yeah.
So you said you've been off your medications
since March. Wasn't planning to get off of them in March. I kind of ran out, and I had lost my job, so I didn't have like insurance to refill them, and I was like, well, guess we're getting off of them. And I mean, I had already been like tapering it down, but so I've been off of meds since March. Like I literally only take my heart meds now.
Really? And has your depression, anxiety gotten worse, stayed the same? Like how's that work for you?
I think I have less days overall, but I feel like when I do get them, they're harder.
Yeah.
Like overall, I mean, I used to probably have like anxious thoughts like 90% of the year, and like I'll still get them, especially like with current situations going on and stuff. I lost my job on Friday, so you know, but it's gotten, I feel like I can handle them better. And like, especially with the anniversary, like before I moved, I went through 2.5 years of intense trauma therapy to like relive that day.
Did you do the paddles or the brain spotting, or did you do any of that stuff?
It was a little bit of brain spotting, I think, but it was a lot more of just like, this is the lie, like you believed, like it was through a Christian counselor.
So it was more like a trauma dump.
Yeah, like a trauma dump. Yeah. And then like one night, like one day I actually had to like, she's like, go back in and like write the story. So I did. And then she's like, no, go and put all the emotions behind it. Because I was like, it was so much easier to just write it down, because I'm an actor. Like I could write like, oh, this is a character, whatever. But then when I had to like go and like relive like the emotions, like everything that I was feeling and all the senses, like that was.
Did they do the empty chair with you?
No.
Oh, the empty chair. That's what they had me do when I had to do my trauma dump about. Because see, I have my stepdad at that time. He emotionally, physically, mentally, and sexually abused me like in all different ways. Mm-hmm. And so like I hadn't seen that man since my mom left him in 95 when he attempted to kill her. And so like when I went to therapy, when I went to an inpatient at the ranch, I was telling about my trauma, and my trauma therapist was like, I'm gonna do this thing with you. You just gotta trust me. So she told me to write my story like you did, because I would never see this. He was dead at this point, so I could not do step 9, and I could not do the steps with him or nothing. So she stuck a chair in the middle of the floor, and she's like, write your stuff down with all the emotions, everything you ever wanted to say to him.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk to that chair like he's sitting in that chair. Oh, God. And it was just powerful because, like, I'm sitting here screaming at this empty chair because I could visualize him actually sitting in the chair. So, like, I was screaming. And then afterwards, I got it all out. And, of course, you done cried for, like, 2 hours.
2 hours like, at least,
snotting everywhere. And they're like, how do you feel? And I'm like,
oh. You're like, yeah.
Like, it's not there no more.
Yeah.
And then they made me go outside and burn the paper. That way I left him at the treatment center.
Yeah, so I had gone on a retreat, just like a college, no, we weren't college, like young adult retreat when I lived in LA. And this is before trauma therapy. And everyone had gone hiking one day, and I'm not the most graceful person in the world. So I was like, I'm going to die if I go hiking. Like, I'm going to trip and fall.
It sounds like me.
So, literally. So I stayed back at the cabin and was having like all these thoughts. And I was like, I'm going to write a letter to the guy, like saying everything I felt. And then at the end, I said, I forgive him. I didn't want to ever see him again.
Right.
Which I have a very interesting story how that happened after, like, so my assault happened senior year of high school. We're in LA about after college, like 5-6 years later. I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard. I see him. He had been working at like a store in Hollywood Boulevard, like handing stuff out. And I'm like, oh my.
And all the traumas came right back.
And I like took my roommate and we started like, I was like, we got to go now. And she's like, what's happening? Because it's Hollywood Boulevard. Anything could happen. And I was like, we have to go now.
Yeah.
And so we got back to the room and she's like, or back to our apartment. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, no. So I told her. And then she's like, well, you sure it was him? I'm like, oh, I'm 100% sure it was him. Like, you don't forget this person. And so she was like, well, let's block him on social media in case like he can't find you, like all this stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't want him to reach out to me. And so but anyway, so back to writing this letter, like I wrote the whole letter and I was like, at the end I was like, I forgive you. And I said, like, you've definitely changed, like how I felt about myself, like what I wanted to be able to like give to my husband, everything like that. And then so the group comes back from hiking, like, so what did you do today? And I was like, well, I wrote a letter. And they're like, what kind of letter? And I mean, they had known some of my testimony. I was just like, and they're like, wow. And so then I burnt it that night. And I was like, okay, it's done. And I was like, okay, I've dealt with my trauma now. Like,
yeah.
Like 4 years later, 6 years later, I finally went into trauma therapy. And I was like, oh, I have not dealt with any of this. Like, I just said I had dealt with it. And, yeah, so I had gotten engaged in 2013 and was like absolutely like planning a wedding, and the guy had made some joke about, I don't remember what it was, but it had to do with like sexual assault. And I was just like, I called off the engagement that day. And I was like, here I was thinking I'd never get engaged, never find anyone that loves me again, because like, how could God even love me? How could people? I still struggle with this off and on. And then I got engaged to, and then when he did that, I was like, and now like back, I was like, no way was I in a place ready to get married. I still had not dealt with any of this trauma.
Right.
And so then it's like, and like now after trauma therapy, like you said, it's finally like, oh wait, like I'll go back and read the notes. And we focused so much on like the lies that we believed from the situation, like, oh, well, because we were alone, like I wanted it.
Yeah.
Or because he knew I liked him. I expressed that I liked this guy, and then that made it okay for him to do.
You try to talk yourself out that it was it was a rape, actually. Like you was
I was like, and that's why I even used to tell people, I'm like, oh, like something happened, and they're like, that was a rape. I'm like, no, and they're like, no, like it was, and so that even like when we made the movie about it, it's on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it, but like my character told the police, and I didn't tell the police, and there was a line that he said, and he's like, no matter what it was still penetration, that is a crime, and I was just like, literally, like, when we shot that part, I was like, oh, like that hit me, and we hadn't, and so then after that is when I went through the 2 years of trauma therapy, because I was like,
that hit because it struck a nerve, and you were like, what's the film called?
It's called Victor Not Victim, and it's on YouTube.
Okay.
Because so it was originally called Survivor Not Victim, because there's a mindset that you may know, like the minute you go from seeing yourself as a victim to a survivor, like it changes something.
Yeah, it changes the mentality behind it.
And then the director of the film, she's like, but you're not just surviving, like you're living your life, like you didn't let him stop.
Right.
You know, and so then she's like, no, you're a victor. And there's a verse somewhere in the Bible that basically says like we're victorious in Christ, and it's in the film. I honestly don't remember what one it is, and it just like she said that to me, and I remember doing a scene where the pastor's in it. He's like, "You're not a victor. Like you're not a victim." And I just kept being like, I had to repeat it as the character, and it got to like where it was like, oh, this is like actually Bethany saying it now. This isn't.
Yeah. So
and
like,
then it was
you kind
like
of swapped the roles in the movie, and you were like, this is me.
And I was like, and the director, she's like, you could tell like when that switched, she was like, you're actually believing these words now. And it's still like, obviously, like when the anniversary comes up, like it's still hard. Or like I see things, I'm like, man, like I thought I'd be married and have kids by now. I don't. Like God's got another plan, And so it's just like, but you always wonder, like, because of that happened, like had I not had all this trauma in my past, not had anxiety, not had depression, like would I be, where would I be now?
Right. But see, then this is where I differ from it, because like I look at, because I'm 29 months now into my recovery from suicide ideation and self-harm. And the way I look at it now is I used to blame God. Mm-hmm. Before I found God, I blamed God. I was like, God, how did you let this man go on to be a gospel singer that did this stuff to me and my mom? How did you do this? And somebody told me at the ranch, my roommate that was a gospel singer, that happened to just...
God does that.
God did that to get me to find my spirituality. And he was like, there are bad people out there that are run by the devil. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you can't blame God for what another person does to you, because he didn't have God in his heart. And I was like, this is legit. So that kind of got me on my way of thinking differently and not blaming God. But now I look at the story now and I'm like, sometimes God has to put us through trials and tribulations to put us in a position of where he wants us. Mm-hmm. Not saying that he wanted me to go through all those things. Yeah. But I went through all those things, and now he's got me in a position where I can use my voice to help the hopeless, to help the ones that don't think there's not a chance for them out there somewhere. And, it's let me here to path where I got people in my audience. I got clients. I got clients that are just like, they hang on every word you say, because they're like, he's lived it, man. Like, I want to smile like this guy does, and it's just like, without my story, I am not who I am today. Mm-hmm. So like, it's not that I thank God for all the hard times. No. But like, I thank God that he turned me into one of his soldiers and let me be a vessel for him, so I can help the people that feel hopeless and helpless and victimized and everything else, because I've lived that life with them. I'm not just some therapist that comes out of school and is like, I just want to be a... No,
you've gone through it. So I've understand that more. Like they can relate
and I
to
think
more.
That's where I get, the respect from my clients and just respect when I worked at the ranch, because they were like, this dude lived it and he's here. Like he's here and he's trying to help me now. And like for you, I could see you using your platform now. Like when you made the movie, it was like, here it is, Yeah. And so that to me, that's when God can use us as a vessel from our traumas to help other people. It's magical. You know, because like you said, it was a movie for you. It was a role, but then somewhere in that role, Bethany popped into that role, and then you were like, I am a victor.
Yeah. And then, like, again, even then, like, going through the trauma therapy, and it's still, like, even in projects, like, every project I do now, whether they're in a very happy relationship or they have stuff, I'm just like, oh, like, I can bring this. But then I also have to, like, warn people. I was like, hey, I may have PTSD, something you do, like, just, like, and that's the thing, crazy thing. Like, when I lived in LA, my best friend was a guy, and he was a hugger. And there was times, like, he would hug me, and I would, like, flip out. And he's like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know.
That's
because
PTSD.
like I know you, I know you're saying, like, I know it's PT, like I know now what it was, but like then, but when you're talking about being angry at God, so I grew up in church, like accepted Christ when I was 4, got baptized when I was 7, like rededicated my life at 13. I was the girl that's like at youth group instead of parties. So when mine happened, I was like, how could this happen to me? I'm living my life for you. I'm not out there doing this,
right.
this, and this. So there was a lot of just like, how could it happen to me? And like, how could you let this happen? And then a lot of like, well, you're not going to love me anymore. And like, if you're not going to love me, no one else can love me. Like, I can't love myself. Struggle with that one still a lot. I'm working on it. And it's just, I had people that I trusted, like in LA, like my small group, that I'd share my testimony, and they've treated me completely differently since. Going out here and like actually sharing my story, I'm like, oh boy, like this is bringing up a little bit of trauma response. But you know, finding the people that like it's okay to share with, you're doing that, and like you said, like your clients, like they respect you so much more because you've been through that. And it's like when the people do here, like I've had a couple of people be like, we had no idea about that. Like you just seem like this happy, you know, whatever person. And I was like, but yeah, because I don't let people. And then there's people that let's see the real, and I'm like constantly apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. That was so much. Like,
because apologizing is like a trauma response in itself, you know, because like that, it's almost like that little victim comes back in a little bit. I catch myself apologizing too much, you know, because I'll apologize for something that happened to somebody else. You know, and I didn't cause it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just took on that responsibility of, like, I did that to you, and really, I didn't do that to you, but I'm so used to apologizing for everything. I'm like...
And then you apologize for apologizing.
Absolutely. You're like, I'm sorry that I said I'm sorry. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now.
Literally happens. And it's something I know. Like, I even tell people, like, I'm gonna apologize. Like, you'll learn this about me real quick, that, like, that's what I do, because, and that's like one of the things is after it, you know, because I'm a victor, like, I am a victor, not a victim.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, words, like, I don't ever want to be a burden to anybody. So like sharing my story, like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna burden them like with my problems. And literally we had a guest speaker at church this week who's gone through, she had like a massive TBI at 26 out of nowhere, should not be alive this day. She literally in the congregation says, okay, I'm going to speak to everyone who feels like they're a burden. And I was like,
are you talking to me?
I was like, I'm listening. And she basically just said, like, she's like, I'm the person, you know, like when her kids were having to help build like a wheelchair for her, I'm going to like burden, you know, them. But she's like, but you can use that as a moment to like, you know, you can see yourself as a burden. Or I wrote it down because I could not. Hold on. I was like, I wrote it down because I want to quote it correctly. Oh, yeah. You can see your suffering as a curse on the people I love, or as an inheritance of breathtaking value.
Oh.
And I was like...
That's a short.
I was just like, okay. Like, and I remember like texting a few people. I was like, oh my gosh. And it's just one of those, like when I was having a bad day on Thursday, like, reached out to someone, and then I was like, I'm so sorry, like, because that's just, you know, my response. I was like, I'm dumping all this, and then later they're like, are you okay? And I was like, no, but I will be. Like, as you said, you know, going in, like, it's not gonna be a great day, but like,
yeah,
you're gonna get through it.
And you know you're safe. That's the key point. It's like when you're in deep depression and deep anxiety, you don't know if you're safe.
Yeah.
But now you know you're safe, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna have a bad day, or I'm gonna have a bad moment, or I'm gonna have a bad hour, but like we're gonna get through it.
And that's the thing, like you have to constantly remind yourself, like you are, as you know, like you are safe now. Like this is, you have people that constantly tell you, like, I'm a safe place. Like you can talk to me, and I'm like, are you really safe? Because you know those lies get into your head.
Well, that, and you've had people that.
Well, you've had people in the past that have said
you.
They're safe, you know, and so, but just like going through that now and just being like, we at my women's group Wednesday night, Wednesday was a great day, And we were just talking about like, they said like, what do you want people like to how do you want people to see God through your life? Like what qualities? And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, joy. Like, I want to just bring joy. And I was just like, I want them to see that, like, you can still hope and trust, like, even through your situations and then one of the ladies there, I don't know if it was the speaker one, she goes, something someone told me, and it stuck with me. She said, God's plan for your life existed before you ever did.
Right.
And it was like, what? Like, I mean, I know that, like, Jeremiah 29 is my life verse. Like, if I ever get a tattoo, like, I'm getting it tattooed here, and everything, but it's just like, yeah, I know the plans I have you, but it's like, no, he knew that before. He knew you were going to go through everything that you're going through and have gone through. And I was just like, okay. And again, like, it's going to bring him glory.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Do you go to, like, meetings or anything else besides of your women's group, you said? Do you go, like, to Al-Anon or...
No.
Any of those type of meetings?
I have a first appointment because I moved here in May. So I had an intake last week. So I actually have a first counseling appointment on Tuesday with a counselor here. To do that, I am not a groups person. Like, even going to my women's small group, like, my friend has to, like, drag me to it most weeks because I'm just like, again, like, I'm still learning. I'm new. Like, these people have all been in group for 2-3 years.
Yeah. You're the new one in the group.
I'm the new one. And I'm like, if I tell them this, like, how much of my story do I share without, like, especially when we haven't, like, this week I'm like, oh, the plans, like, but you never know, like, what to share. Like, I'm not a person normally that, like, will share my story, like, right off the bat.
Right. I get that.
One person in this room has happened pretty quickly. It was like, we have a lot in common. His story, you know,
yeah.
But, like.
So, like, for me, it was like, when I started going to groups, I was like you. I just kind of sit there for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
For a couple of months, probably. I just kind of just listen to everybody else's stories and see how their stories could help me in my recovery. But then it's like that one day I just felt it. I was like, my story can help somebody in this room, you know, because a lot of men don't like talking about being sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, men, it is probably one of the worst stigmas that a man can have to happen, you know. And especially to happen when you was in your teens, you know, because we're talking about something that happened from the age of 11 to 16, like, and I just blocked it all out, you know. So, like, to have that stigma, you know, and to be like, this happened, and, you know, you couldn't tell. When I was 16, I couldn't tell nobody, because, like, I'm a guy, you know, like, who, if I tell my friends, they're gonna be like, I mean, you're gonna lose all your friends in high school, like, absolutely lose all your friends in high school. So then you have to put this mask on and this facade that, okay, I'll become the funny fat guy. You know, like, I'm gonna be Chris Farley, because he was like one of my heroes. Chris Farley, Jack Black, like, they're my comedians that I follow because they were bigger guys and everybody loved them. And I'm like, this is me now. Like, and so, like, with all that going on, you know, it hit me, and I was like, I gotta tell my story, because I remember when I was in treatment. Not the first time, but the second time, and it came up in my trauma. I went back to our group, because we had group meetings in our residential house every morning and every night. So we had our group meeting that morning with the therapist, and I was like, y'all, I gotta get this off my chest. Like, something's telling me I need to tell y'all this. No, this was the first time I was in treatment. Yeah. Because I'm still close to all those guys, and I told them. And of course, I'm in tears running down my face. I was like, you know, I don't want nobody to look at me different, because I'm still in that shame mode, you know, because this is just becoming the real life at this point. So I'm in that shame mode. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, one of the other brothers in the house goes, that happened to me too. And then another guy over here was like, oh my God, I was going to go home. Look, he was like, I was going to go home and not tell nobody this and just live with this forever. And by the end of our group, 5 of us had shared that something had happened between with another man and us, and if I wouldn't have spoke up that day, nobody else was going to speak up. And it was like, even though I still hadn't found God at that moment, because I had to go back twice, I had to be there twice, and I found him the second time, I still had that pull that I had to tell this, because I knew how important it was to get it out in order for me to be able to process it. And then all of a sudden had 5 guys total. Like, one of my buddies told me how he was kept in a dog cage, and like, oh my gosh. Like, it was traumatic trauma for men, sexual trauma for men. And it was like, it made that house, there was 10 of us, and we're 29 months into it. And like, we just text each other the other night to check on one another. And it's just because that group had shared secrets that nobody had ever heard before. Yeah. Like the parents didn't, like, that was us. And then we had to be like, okay, we all acknowledged that this was terrible. And we're all snot crying everywhere. And then, like, they're still my brothers today because, like, they were the first ones that knew, like, they've got to be my brothers for life because we all bonded that night by our trauma.
Yeah, trauma bonding.
I hate to say it was a trauma bond, but, like, it became a lifelong brothers for me because, like, you know, we all shared something terrible while we was going around faking all day at treatment. Like, I don't know why I got mental health issues. And then bam, 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 bam. And everybody's like,
now I know why. Yeah.
We all fucked up. So,
pretty much, yeah.
You know, so like, now that you're fixing to start counseling here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you just wanting to do the counseling itself? Or are you wanting, or has your, like, anxiety gotten worse to where you want something for your anxiety again?
I don't want to go back on meds. Like, I mean, I take my heart meds because without it, my blood pressure drops very dangerously low. Yeah. And, like, you know, I mean, I'll take those. Like, I want to, you know, keep living.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to go back on meds. For a while, I, like, couldn't get through the day without them. Like,
yeah.
And then, but I was like, I don't ever want them to become a crutch again.
Right.
Not to say, like, if I go into a period where it's just, like, month after month after month of depression and nothing's getting better, like, I will be like, okay, maybe I need something just to, like, my counselor or doctor back there prescribed it. She's like, there's just an imbalance in your brain.
Yeah.
And so when I actually thought about it that way, I was like, okay, because you hear, like, people are like, oh, I'm just gonna take anxiety med to, like, get through the day, and it's like,
nah.
But when you learn that there's, like, actually a chemical imbalance in your brain, you're like, that explains so much.
Yeah.
And then, like, so I wouldn't say, like, I'm never gonna go back on them, but
it just depends on how your brain is.
It just depends. Yeah, it just depends on how.
It depends on how the brain wants to.
And just, like, also, you know, how the brain is handling everything that's happening in life. And like, but I also have a couple of people here that I can, like, reach out to pretty much any time of the day. Like, if something happens, and I'm like, I know they're gonna be like, "Are you?"
You probably just gained 2 more today, though.
Yeah.
So do you use? Did you go to, besides therapy, did you go into, like, any residential programs or anything like that? So did your therapist teach you, like, coping skills? Like, I know you reach out to people, so, like, do you do anything, what other coping skills do you use?
The one that she does a lot with me is, like, is like the senses, where it's like 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the 5 things, like 5 things you can touch. For, you know, I don't remember the exact order, but it's like 5 things you can touch, 4 things you can hear,
3
taste,
things.
Yeah, 3 things: taste, smell, or 5 things you can see. You know, all that. And so I'll have to do that. And also, like, a big one for me is just when it starts spiraling, to, like, sit down and, like, step back for a second and be like, okay, no, like, look where you are. You're literally in your room. You're
stop
like,
method.
Stop. You know, like, do this. Or for me, like, the first time I ever wrote a screenplay, I was in college, was getting really bad anxiety attacks, and I just started writing, have something to focus on that wasn't the anxiety attack. I was never going to do anything with that movie. Like, I was an actress, not a writer. Like, nothing was happening like that. And then I had done background on Castle, and there's a lot of time to just, like, sit around and talk, and everyone was like, oh, I wrote a script. To this day, I was like, I wrote a script. Still don't know why I said that, like, to this day. And it finally got made. It took, like, a 6-year journey to, like, get that film made. And I was like, okay. And so then when I did that, I was like, there needs to be more faith-based movies that are, like, but still deal with, like, real life trauma.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We have a film that's finally done in, like, festivals, and it's a cancer story. It doesn't have a happy ending. Like, spoiler alert, we have to tell everybody that, like, but it shows, like, real life. And so when I was, like, fell into producing and stuff, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do, like, my company, we're gonna make faith-based stories, but that have, like, real problems, real, you know, like, the cancer's not, you know, the happy ending, and people struggling with, like, how could God let this happen? And the movie that Logan and I were doing, the Christmas film that we're starting in January, like, some of the characters have PTSD. Our characters have gone through, like, 5 miscarriages, and we're finally pregnant. So it's just, like,
real life.
And so that's, like, and so it's TLBM Productions, and it stands for the Lord Be Magnified. And that's really, like, what we're trying to do with all of our, like, any projects we make, even just people, like, we were on that family call on Tuesday or Thursday, and, like, someone had shared something, and they were like, you don't even know, like, this is what I've gone through. So, like, we all were like, oh my gosh, like, you've gone through this, like.
We'll make sure we plug that when we do our podcast.
We're not filming until the end of January, but
no, we'll film. We'll plug your company.
Oh yeah, please do. I'll send you the logo and everything too if you need to.
Yeah, well, Brian will take care of it. Brian's good about taking care of everything. So
I'm like, we've been promoting it a lot. So
he whenever we get a guest, he tries to find out everything he can find out about him. He's also my researcher. You know, I was naming all of his jobs. I forgot researcher. He's the researcher.
Well, that's like when you were like when he was like director. I was like, technically not, but I'm like, I created the project. Like, I do all the casting. I've gotten my best friend involved in casting because she's not an actor, so she can just watch people and be like, is the story believable? Whereas me, I'm like, what are they doing? Acting techniques, you know, all that. So she watches and she just does it basically from the like story point. But even in this, like sharing when I had shared on the anniversary of the assault, like had shared my story, a little bit of my story, I had somebody reach out that had auditioned for the film and we didn't cast, and they were like, you sharing your story is like making me want to share mine. And I was like, okay, like,
yeah, that's kind of like when Logan sent me a text the other day, and I guess Logan's just become an honorary member of the show because he's had like 3 people on here now, and he just got me a 4th one. He found me a 4th one. Logan's like an honorary member.
He's the one that got me on here.
Yeah,
so.
like he's actually like. He's the honorary member of our podcast now. It's great how God's made that happen. But he sent me a text the other day of a friend of his who watched his episode. I don't know if did I send that to you, Brian? And you like how I just break the 4th wall and just ask you questions. And it said how much watching their story made that person go to their first AA meeting. And wanting to, man, I got that text.
I'm like, I just got goosebumps.
I got that text and I cried for a minute because, like, when I told Brian the dream of this podcast, that was the dream. That is literally just the dream. Is that I just want it to reach one person, and we've reached more than one person because we've had people come through here that heard the podcast and they wanted to come here because I was here, and like, but when Logan sent me that the other day, I cried, but it wasn't like boo-hoo crying. It was happy tears because this is what God wanted. When God gave me this vision of this podcast, that's what I wanted. That's what sold Brian on it. That's why he's been doing it for free since April. All this extra work that he's done. God bless his wife and children for letting me borrow him as much as I have, because like, I mean, this takes time. He probably puts in 30, 40 hours a week, you know, making sure social media is up and going, making sure the shorts are made. You know, I'll send him a text and be like, hey, do we got shorts for this week? No, give me a few minutes and I'll knock you out 10 real quick. Like, and so when Logan sent me that text and I actually had written proof
that somebody
went to an AA meeting because of his episode of the podcast, man. Like, I walked out of my office and my chest was all like, just all swelled up because it was like, thank you, God, because
like,
this was it. This is all I wanted in life, was to reach people. And Logan wasn't in the room a second ago, but now that Logan's back in the room,
we were talking about you.
We were talking about you, Logan. Everybody, Logan is in the room again. We told everybody that you're just now an honorary member of the podcast. Logan has become a dear friend. Bethany and Logan are friends. Brandon and Logan was friends. He found me another person that I'm going to talk to this week and see when we can set up. But so, like, with your coping skills, though, you do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Evidently, you journal because you wrote a screenplay. Well, so you basically journal.
I can't keep an actual journal. I have tried so many times.
So you just write a script.
I just get frustrated and end up writing scripts. Like, it ends up becoming scripts. Either like my really personal one, like literally is like the girl in the film story is most of my story.
Yeah.
But it's about like, that film's about like what happens when you can find like your future, but you have this in your past and like it keeps coming back. Or I'll just write like other scenes and then they turn into like the Christmas film that we're doing. There's stuff in it. I'm like, oh, this is definitely Bethany just trying to journal and process through everything.
Yeah,
so like,
but
I like read or like I hear back the scenes and I was like, I needed this advice. Like, and I literally wrote it.
I'm glad I wrote this advice to myself.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is really good advice. I think
wow, this scene's really good.
You're sitting there getting told that advice. You're like, that's why I wrote the scene. I needed somebody just to actually tell me that. Even though I wrote it for them.
I mean, like I said, there's the character that goes through like intense PTSD, and like one of the callbacks with he and his wife's just talking about like, this is okay, like a safe place to fall apart. Like, we're here. And I was literally like, I needed to hear this. Like, and I don't even remember, like, when I was writing it, I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't think anything of that scene. And then hearing it through the callback, because there were like 9 people that would call back for his wife. So hearing it like 9 times in a row, it's like, okay, yeah, now I understand. Like, I really needed to hear this.
I can't journal either. I write poems. When I get, because I'll get like a beat in my head, and then I'll just write to the beat. So it's almost like a poem / rap song almost. Because the way I read it, I'll be like, and then I'm like, okay, I'll store that one on my phone or whatever.
Yeah.
But like also with like, I'm sure you pray a lot, so that's a coping skill. That's one of the coping skills.
Sure. And I put on worship music, and there's like,
I
was telling him this song. I had texted Logan about the song, and then he was like, it's one of my favorites. And then like Friday morning, because Thursday was really bad. Friday morning, he's like, look at the first song that popped up. And I was like, and it came through like twice on my playlist randomly on Thursday. And then literally I'm at an event last night and the song starts playing again. And I was like, I'm listening. But I was telling him, like, sometimes I'll just be singing along because like it's worship me. And then I'm like, then it hits me like, no, I actually like believe, like, so same thing, I'll just put it on because I'm like, I need something that's uplifting, positive, And then when you start like really hearing the words and then you're like,
oh, yeah. I am that. I do believe that. Yeah. I tell Brian that all the time. I'll be like, I woke up this morning in a grouchy mood, turned on the radio, and something's like, I needed that this morning. Like, I needed that breath of fresh air this morning. Yep. Thank goodness that happened. And so, like, I also use a skill for my anxiety. It's called TIP. It's TIPP. I only use the temperature side of it. And what it is if your anxiety gets real bad, you make you a bowl of ice water.
Yeah. And
you put your face in it. Or you take a cold shower, or you...
Yeah.
Let me tell you what else I've done. We have a swimming pool in my apartment. They don't close it. It's open year-round.
Ours is open year-round.
Ours is open year-round. If you want to go swimming when it's 40 degrees outside, go do you. But I'll use it in the winter. I have used it twice this past winter because I moved there last April. This past winter, I had a couple bad days of just everything I did for my anxiety wasn't working. I buried my face in ice water, and I was like, okay, this is really intense. It's not kicking it. So I put on some shorts and a t-shirt and wrapped a towel around me, walked over to the swimming pool, jumped in, jumped out, and ran back to the apartment. And I know people in the apartment complex was like, this motherfucker, this idiot right here, what is he doing? But like, it shocked the system, and then
system reset
because it made me forget about the anxiety. Because as soon as I got out, I was like,
yeah, you can't think about anything
cannot think about nothing else except for how cold I am. And so like, people were like, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "Man, when we had clients at the ranch, we had a creek that was behind our house, and so like I would have
creek
clients."
Water's extra cold.
It's cold in the summertime, so like I'd have clients that be like, "Juice, I'm struggling today. Can I go jump in the creek?" I was like, it's 38 degrees outside. That creek water is gonna be raw,
ice.
And we had this tree stump. They like overshot the creek, and so like you would climb on the tree stump and just flop in, and you would stay in there literally long enough to jump in, and you would run out, And then sometimes you'd have guys that want to jump in and use it as a competition to see who can stay in the longest. They had to do their macho thing, But like, people don't understand, like, if you need to help your anxiety and even your depression, because it makes you forget everything. Like, the only thing you can think about is getting warm. Like, it makes everything go away. But like, sometimes when I've done it, and the 2 times I've done it, I've just wondered how many people look out their window watching this guy walk across the parking lot with shorts on and a towel over him. They're like, "No, he's not going to go in the pool. He's not going to do that." And they're like, "Oh, he did it. He did it."
Then they see you like running back a minute later.
Seeing a chunky guy just trying to run as fast as he can, looking like a wrecking ball running across the parking lot. And so those are skills that I learned,
Yeah.
And you said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a perfect skill. Breathing.
Yeah.
Checking your breathing. But see, I can't. With my depression, sometimes it gets me angry. Like, not angry no more, but more upset. So when I do it, I have to breathe in through my nose slowly. And I don't even do the count, like the box breathing or the triangle breathing. I just breathe in positive, and then I blow out anger. But like when I blow it out, I want to make a sound like it's like a whoo.
Yeah.
Like, because if I can hear it come out, it helps it in my mind, whether it really works or not. But in my mind, it's like, you're blowing out the anger. You keep doing what you're doing. And so like, those are skills that I use, And so, like, it's interesting that your therapist taught you some of those skills, and that's phenomenal because some therapists don't do that. They just want to talk about your problem and get out, you know.
Yeah.
So to actually
have
a
really
good
great therapist back in Michigan.
So have that was a really good therapist because a lot of them, you know, I didn't know none of them coping skills until I went inside a treatment facility. So
I mean, I'd always heard obviously like control your breath and everything, but like having POTS, my breathing sometimes, like if I try and do deep breaths, like I'll pass out because I'm not getting like the heart rate starts going. So I'm like, okay, well that's not always the best.
That's
you know,
probably
but,
not the good one.
But there's still like times where I can tell like I'm starting to get worked up, and I'm like, first of all, your heart may start going crazy. Like you need to slow that down. Anyways, like, basically, and then just like, you know, even doing that or just being like focused on like, okay, can I feel myself actually breathing? You know, and then I'm like, okay, because once you have to focus on it, you're like, you automatically start slowing down, and then you're so focused on like making sure you're breathing that you forget about everything else. And you're like, because I've had anxiety attacks where I'm like, oh my god, I'm not breathing, and I'm like, well, clearly I'm breathing because like I'm talking, I'm freaking out, but like I'm not breathing, and then I'm like, okay, focus, like you actually are breathing. You can feel.
I had to tell Cons that before. They're like, I can't breathe. And I'm like, you're breathing, bro. You're talking. You're breathing. Like you're breathing. Like I just need you to slow it down. And so like for me, when I'm working with a client. I'll talk, like, everybody knows that I'm loud and obnoxious. Like, anybody that knows me knows that I'm loud, obnoxious, and I don't want to say center of attention, but, you know, I'm in the room. That's the best way to put it, right? I don't think I'm attention-seeking. It's just I'm loud with the goofy laugh, whatever. But, like, if I have a client that's high, I go like this. I'm like, hey, let's just chill out for a second. Like, let's bring it down. Because I've noticed if you go monotone, they'll start coming down to your level. Because, you know, if you talk to them all hype, they're yelling and screaming. You're like, hey,
if you're they're going to match your energy.
Yeah, so you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, let's talk about this. And you'll see them just almost to the point where they pass out because they're way up here and they're like,
yeah.
You know, like, so
you gotta do a slow,
hey, don't go down so fast. Like, slow it down. Slow it down.
Yeah.
With everything you got going on, is this the only project you're working on right now?
The Christmas film, yes. Because we're trying to get as much of it, like, well, you might even do this with us, but anytime you make a film, stuff is gonna happen.
Every time.
Like, stuff you cannot control. So as much, like, we're trying to literally, like, we're getting pre-production done, like, now. And we film in, like, 3 months because it's, like, I mean, that's like we're taking pictures today that are going to be in a set deck. Because we're, like, we have that down. And, like, live close. A lot of the other actors don't live close. So we're going to have to get theirs, like, during filming. But I was like,
So you'll film it in January with the hopes of it coming out next Christmas of 26?
Yep.
Is that
hopefully Christmas of, but yeah, because this is 25. Yes. Yeah. I was like, what year is this? Yeah. So hopefully if we film it in January, like, it should be out in November of 26.
That's good.
Should. Don't hold, I don't have any of the editing stuff, so don't hold me to that. But
is it for release, or is it going to be like a Lifetime movie or a Hallmark movie?
So what we're doing is we'll go to film festivals. It's already been accepted to one because they believe in TLBM and will pretty much take anything TLBM does.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome because I'm like, we haven't even made this movie yet. You don't know what it's going to be, and God's working through them. And Logan could also share stories of how God's already working through the project. But so then with some festivals, like, if you win there, like, you get distribution, but then the goal is to get it on, like, streaming services after that. So
you're hoping it goes to, like, a Netflix or
Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Well, it's not gonna be Hulu because I think Hulu goes away this year.
I think they're finally getting, or they're like merging it in with something.
It's all
completely.
Disney Plus in the next.
Yeah,
week
so I mean, there's like a streaming, basically a Netflix version. It's called Saltflix, which is new, and they've taken like a couple of TLBM's like.
And then
projects.
I got that streaming service Angel.
Yeah, they got Angel Studios. So I mean, there's a lot of. Just kind of a lot of them you can't, if it's in festivals, you can't submit it because people can't watch it publicly if it's in festivals. So it's just like, that's a whole other side I had to learn. Because like when you just show up and act, you don't know what happens once you see the movie. Like you don't know all of this stuff that goes into it, or even like learning production. I'm like, you like have to start scheduling, like making the schedule now. And we're not filming for like, you know, and after you get your lines, you show up, you know, that's all you have to worry about.
Right. It's kind of like working in treatment. Like when I was a patient, I didn't realize how much went on behind the scenes, how much you got to deal with insurance, how hard, I don't want to use the word I really want to use for insurance, how hard it is to deal with insurance.
Yes.
Because the insurance market is
And they don't support mental health in them. So,
and if they do support it, they jack the rates of the people's insurance to have that on there because it's one of the most used parts of the insurance policies now. So, working with insurance is probably the most difficult part about the job because for a place like this, that's how we get paid.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to deal with these insurance companies as I'll stress it the way now everybody can feel what I'm saying when I say it because like they can be difficult, you know, and it's kind of like in your film industry there's going to be places it's difficult and you're
one of the hardest parts is for me is like getting funding for the projects because you're faith-based, like you can't get a lot of grants, you can't get, and like investors, unless we're like the chosen, don't really want to give into a company that they're like, we don't know like if there's going to be any return or anything. So, and I'm the person, I hate asking people like for donations. Like I absolutely like dread it. I'm like, I know you have a Christmas tree, but like I don't even want to ask to borrow your Christmas tree because like that's just not my. So someone else is taking that. There's actually like basically a faith-based version of like Indiegogo that apparently we're setting up, and that's gonna like go out today because like we don't need a lot, but like we have an Airbnb that everyone's staying at that we're actually filming at too, which is awesome because then we're not having to like transport people anywhere. The gear can get set up and stay, but like we have to pay for that. And like normally I'd be like, oh, let me pay out of pocket, but currently don't have a job, so like I can't justify paying out of. I will get yelled at if I try and pay out of pocket. So. You know, so it's just like. So
do y'all do most y'all's filming in this area?
So like I moved here in May, and we did the weekend before Labor Day, we did a short wedding comedy that will be out by Thanksgiving. That's just gonna go on YouTube. It was just like a time for a group of us, like, hey, we're Christians, we want to make a movie, like let's do it. You know, not real. And then this one, this one will be filming like in the Brentwood, Nashville area. Okay. So.
Okay.
I filmed like in Michigan when I was in Texas the last 2 years. We filmed in like Texas and Oklahoma, so I filmed kind of all over.
So your company's got several movies already out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're gonna plug the production company so y'all can check her movies out. You know, faith-based movies. So like,
our whole, I get it wrong, and I had someone help me come up with a long one, but it's basically like we tell real stories of flawed individuals through the lens of faith. So,
and you have some that don't have like the perfect, you know.
Like
that's real life. You know, real life is
that's like when we made our cancer movie, and literally my best friend wrote it, and then she lost her uncle to cancer like right before we filmed it, and she was like, "This took on like a whole other like meaning." We've had people that watch that one, and they're like, "Thank you for showing that it's not."
Yeah.
Like you may not, you know, I mean, obviously like. They're with Jesus if they're Christian, so like there's that ultimate like happy ending, but like on earth it's for the people, and like that movie it shows not only like how it affects the person that has cancer, but like the people that love that person, like how it affects them. And like there's a scene that is so powerful that the lead actor is literally in the church like yelling at God. He's like, how could you let this happen to her? Like take me instead, she doesn't deserve this. And
that's real life, that happens.
I mean, and we told the guy's name is Maverick, like we told Maverick like, just think of any situation. Like he thankfully hasn't known people affected by cancer. I've lost family members to cancer. Yeah. So, I mean, it's 1 in 4 people know someone that's affected by it, I think is the statistic. And he's like, he let himself go. Like he's like, imagine like if he had lost his wife, and he's just like, I mean, there's a reason this guy has won awards because of that scene. And it's just like, yeah, I watch it. I know what's happening. I still watch it and cry every single time I watch that. Like that part of the scene. I can't watch the ending of the movie anymore because I start like, it's bad. I like, my friend was watching. I was like, just turn it off. And she's like, no, I want to see the ending. I was like, okay, I'm going to just go to the other room now. But
I'm just going to let you know right now. I'm going to go home and watch this movie today.
I will send it to you.
Like I am going to go home and watch this movie. I can feel it in my soul.
It's bring tissue. I forgot to warn my friend when she came to the premiere and she was pregnant. She's like, why did you not warn me? I was like, my bad, I forgot.
But see,
but that's, I mean, but it's real life. I mean, and there's moments like I said in like the one we're doing, like every character is going through something, whether it's the PTSD or the miscarriages, IVF, finally pregnant. You know, we even have another character that's struggling that their job in the film is a social worker. So they like, how do I balance? Like I take care of everybody at work, and then
where's my time?
Yeah, and also like I just need to take care of everyone. Like. And they're like, no, you have to let someone take care of you. Again, another scene where I'm like, oh, Bethany, you should probably like listen to some of these. But I mean, like with that film, like you can relate to one character or parts of like every single character. And that's what I really try and do with like every situation, like every film that we make. Like we did a show that's still in editing in Texas, and like my character's mom is an alcoholic in the show, and she goes through, and my character was raised in a very abusive home because of, and it just like we're gonna show real life, like real situations, because faith-based movies, Christian movies, for a while they've gotten a lot better, but like when they first came out, they were like
rah rah ree,
yeah, or like super cheesy. Super cheesy, or just like shoving Jesus down your throat too, which like there's ways to do that, but like I'm not gonna say that, but they were not great. They've gotten better, and like, but that's one of the reasons I started my company. It's like I want to make real stories, because like as me, someone who has anxiety and depression, like I mean they say like as a Christian your life isn't gonna be easy, it's not gonna be perfect,
right?
And I'm like, you need to be able to see that. Like,
you need to see what that looks like.
You need to see what that looks like. People in these situations, like his character in the film is like basically neurotic, because he's like, we've lost so many, like we're not going to lose this one. And I'm like, we have to let God. And he's like, no, like I need to control it. And I feel a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that. Like even if not in the miscarriage, like just wanting to be in control of something in your life.
Yeah.
And I still struggle with that.
Yeah. It's like the way you're talking about these movies that you've done so far, it's like I have literally...
I can talk about them for...
I have literally known you an hour. Like...
Yeah.
But just from what you've told me of your story, as you're talking about these movies, I can see you in each one of these movies, which is amazing. Like, I love this, you know? And to have movies being made, it's real life, you know? Like, this is... It's not going to be a happy ending all the time. Yeah. Like, I can give you an example. My mom has got liver disease. She's got diabetes, so her pancreas is shot. She's got liver disease where my stepdad at the time fed her a burger with 7 dust on it and tried to kill her while she was in the hospital. Jeez. So for 30 years, she's had this rare liver disease called NASH. It's non-alcoholic, sexually transmitted hepatitis. And she's been fighting it for 30 years. And we're at the point now where she's on the liver transplant list after 30 years, but now her kidneys are failing. And then
and if something fails, they won't put,
Yeah, and then 2 months ago, her heart started failing. So, like, now she's holding fluid all the time, no matter what. And Monday, I got to take her back to the doctor, and there's a chance she's going to have to get stuck in the hospital again. And the last time she went to the hospital, we didn't know if she was coming out. So, it got dark. And she was worried about me the whole time. Yeah. Because she knows how her trauma has intertwined with my trauma. Yeah. You know, like, our traumas are together by the same person. Like, it is what it is. And 2 years ago, I couldn't even talk about this without bawling and getting in a fetal position and hiding away somewhere. But like I told her, I was like, Mom, this is what it is. Like, I am so confident now in my spirituality with God. I even had this conversation with her. I was like, either way, you're going to get healed now.
Yeah, either
God's going to heal you here,
or he'll heal you.
He's going to heal you in heaven. Yeah, and I can accept that. Like, but I think if I like, will it hurt me selfishly down here not having you? Absolutely. Yeah.
And if it didn't, then
I have another issue.
Yeah, I was like, then you might need to
But can I accept that you're not going to hurt no more? Because I'm in a better place with my own mental health now. Yeah. Can I accept you're not hurting no more now that you basically have 4 organs failing? Absolutely, because I know the pain this woman goes through every day. Like, her liver's so hard, you can see it poking out of the side of her stomach where it's so hard from the cirrhosis and stuff. And, like, it's terrible. Like, when I hear her talk and she's having to breathe hard on the phone, like, it breaks my heart, you know? And it's like, but I still get up every morning. I text my mom good morning. I text her I love her because I'm like, I'm a mama's boy, been a mama's boy my whole life. And at nighttime, I tell her good night. I either call her, we either call each other, or I text her good night every night. Because I know there's not a lot of those days left. And I want to be able to look back on those text messages and was like, as a son, did you do everything you could have as a son for your mom? And me doing that helps me with everything. Like, I can talk about this with a smile on my face, and it's not that I've put it away somewhere. No. It's like I'm literally processing all this in real time, whereas used to I couldn't process nothing. And it's kind of like your movies, you know, you're showing things and it's helping you process things that's happened to you in life.
Things I didn't even realize it was
right. Process, like sometimes you'll be in the middle of a scene, you'll be like, well, Bethany, that was was interesting. I didn't know I needed that kick in the face.
Yeah, or I'll be like, hold on, we need to cut because I'm like literally spiraling right now. And like, not but like a good spiral, but just like, oh, like.
Yeah, we need to cut right now because Bethany is spiraling, not the character.
Yeah, literally. But when you were saying even like, you know, sharing your story, like I still, like after mine happened, like I told my RD part of it. Then I told my sister, but even like once we made the movie, because it still wasn't the full, I was like, there's only one person to this day that knows that, besides obviously me. My counselor, the one that I did the trauma therapy, is the only person that knows my entire full story of what happened. And even then, like still talking about it, I'm like it's still really like, I know it's touchy, but it's still hard. Like, this is so out of my comfort zone. Like, being on here talking about,
but I appreciate it so much because, like, these kind of things that happen to women need to be talked about more, you know, and to show them that it's not you. You didn't deserve it. It happened. Like, I'm a victor. I'm not a victim.
I'll be completely honest. Growing up in church and having this happen, like, they don't, I mean, because, you know, the sex before marriage is bad. But they don't talk about, like, when it's not your choice. And I had a person one time, Lord help them, literally told me that getting raped was the same as choosing to have sex before marriage.
Sounds like a lot of politicians about 30 years ago when they used to say that. And and I think they were really in their, I'm not sure, they were trying to help in their mind. Yeah, but
and I was spiraling. Like, it was a bad, I was having a really rough time with it. Like, and this had been after the trauma therapy. I think this was actually like during it. We had gone down to Florida to film, and we were driving down. Me and a couple of friends were driving down, and we got real deep in the conversation on the way to Florida. And like, they said that, and I literally was like, I almost literally was like, let me out of this car.
Yeah,
I will find my own way to Florida. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna go hitchhike or something. No, I'll get to Florida one way or another. And then sure enough, this person, so when I shared my video on Friday, they literally commented on it, and they were like, you've gone through so much. Like, I've seen you grow so much. Like, so proud of you. And I was like, like, you don't get to celebrate this win right now. Like, and that's, I mean, and there's like, anytime you tell your story. And I mean, even when after, like, I had reached out to Logan, I was like, wow, great job. Like, we and your friend in practice. And that's when he was like, you should be on it. And I was like, no, like, well, first of all, I was like, mine's like mental health and like suicide, you know? And I was like, no, I really shouldn't. Like, no one needs to hear.
And then Logan was like, that is juice. That is juice 100%.
He's like, and he's like, people need to hear story. I'm like, nah. It's like that whole night, I was like, I'm not going to do it. I could not sleep that night. Like, it kept coming there, and I was like, I have to do this. And I was like, no, I really don't. Like, and then when he sent you the, you know, sent the text and was like, let's do this. And even then I was like, oh no, like, what am I getting? And I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to like be on it. And she's like, wow. Cause she's like, that's so not, the shy introverted part of me is like cringing massively at this right now. Like, and even then, like, I still, even this whole week, especially like Thursday with the bad anxiety, I literally having those like, okay, no one needs to hear my story. Like, I'm not, literally that spiral started again. And I'm at a place now where I can recognize that, like, oh, this is spiraling. Like, this is going to happen. Like, and Logan was like, they're like, how can I help? I'm like, if I start spiraling, like, stop the spiral because, like, I know it's going to happen.
Yeah,
like,
I need you to stand in front of the spiral and catch me.
Pretty much. And, like, whereas, like, a couple years ago, I'd be like, why is this happening? Like, I couldn't process that, like, I was spiraling. And now I'm like, but I know I'm like, if I let myself spiral, like, it will get bad.
It will get really bad.
Like, real bad, real quick. Where I may not be able to answer, I'm okay if someone texts, you know? And so it's like, being able to just do that, either like recognizing that, again, that's through therapy, I've been able to recognize, like, oh, this is the start of the spiral. Like,
I can feel it. This is here. Like,
yeah.
Okay, let's do our coping skills and see if we can stop it ourselves, and then we're going to pick up a phone. Like,
yeah.
Because we now know how quickly it can go from 100 down to 0.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you're like, okay, I'm struggling. Like, I've got to reach out. And I'm also the person,
I'm like, I'll text someone. I was like, I don't want to bother them because I'll just text them. And then when they're not busy, they can, like, read it or whatever. And I'm like, no, there's probably times I should have actually just, like, called someone. But I'm like, again, I don't want to be the bother. I don't want them. They're dealing with their own stuff. They don't need to be, like, dealing with my stuff, too. So
see, T-Bell's good for that for me because, like, he can read in my text message. Because, you know, I've known him for 11 years now.
So he can know, like
he'll know in my text. He'll know in my text message. He'll be like, don't sound like normal. That's not the normal him. I probably need to call him. And he'll be like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. Tell me what's going on. Hold on. I just need you on the phone with me. I just need you to like sit with me and just let me think. Because at least even if we're not talking, there's somebody on the phone.
There's somebody on the phone.
Brian don't even know how many times I've called him just to have him on the phone. And then like I'll mask and say some dumb shit. Like I'll be goofing off and stuff. But really, I just needed somebody on the phone to keep me present.
Yes.
Because I was having a bad moment. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to call somebody and just... Even if I put a mask on just to goof off, it's somebody's on the phone and they don't realize how much they're helping me.
Yeah.
And so, like, getting somebody on the phone, like, that's the one thing people don't understand. We're on these phones all day, every day.
Anyway.
And then the time we need to use it for something, we forget about it. We're like, I don't want to really call nobody. As we're coming toward the end of our show now, what would you tell that high school girl that went through this? What could you tell her to? Would you tell her to tell somebody right away? Like, what could you tell that person to try to like not hold on to this for years and years and years and try to like actually get help right away?
Yeah, I would definitely tell her like, first of all, you're gonna be okay. Like, it will get better, even when you don't feel like it. And just, I would say, reach out to someone, like. Tell someone, even if you can't say like what happened, because like I said, it took years for me to be able to fully say what happened, because I couldn't even comprehend what had happened. And then you can same thing, kind of just block it out, and you're like, but reach out to someone. Like I had friends in high school, like literally seniors, started to notice like, okay, like you're withdrawing from everything, like you're. So we had a teacher that had actually TA'd for the previous 2 years, and then like had her my senior year. I'm her kid's godmother now. Like it's a whole thing, but like she would just literally just pull me aside and be like, how are you? Not talk about like what happened, but just like she would do like little check-ins with me. So it's like, find somebody that you can do if you can't share, you know. And like the thing is, like I'm very fortunate. Like I have amazing parents. Like my mom and I talk every day, and we've talked about a lot of stuff, but like this was something, because I couldn't even process it, like couldn't talk about it.
Right.
But just find somebody that you can talk to, you know, when you're feeling, especially as you said, nowadays, everybody's on their phones constantly. Like, send out a text and just be like, hey, like, can we talk? Or, hey, I literally text someone one time, I'm like, I just need to talk about something that has nothing to do with what I'm going through, but just
I need to be, I need a conversation just to get my mind off stuff.
I need to be distracted, basically.
Distracted.
Yeah. And
that was the word I was looking for.
So I would say, like, to reach out, like, to tell her, like, find someone you can trust, even if it's not right away. Like I said, mine was 2 years after it happened, is before the first time I actually spoke about it. And even then I was telling her, I was like, oh yeah, I was assaulted, and didn't even like give any detail, nothing, just like, but just really find someone. Don't go through years of like not talking about it, because it probably has made like the depression, anxiety worse. I'm not saying like I wouldn't have still had that,
right? But
if I had someone at the beginning that I was talking to about everything,
it would not have been as bad.
I might not have tried to kill myself twice.
Absolutely.
You know, so
absolutely.
Yeah.
And as we come to the end of our show, first of all, thank you, Bethany, for coming on. Plug your production company one more time.
TLBM Productions. It stands for The Lord Be Magnified.
And we will put
I think we have a Facebook page. I think we do. I'm really bad at social media, but I know the Christmas movie has a Facebook page and an Instagram. So
Brian will find it, and we will post it on the podcast. If you're out there and you're struggling, go to my website, morningjuicepod.com. Go down, scroll down to the bottom where it has comments and all that stuff. It has a section where you can email me personally. It only comes to me to reach out. We can get you help, whether it's one-on-one talks with me, get you in the path. If we can't get you in the path, we'll get you somewhere. Don't forget to see us on the YouTube, The Morning Juice. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Please, please, please. Mm-hmm. We're trying to do big things. Season 1 finale is going to be November 19th, live on everything, I believe, Brian.
Live.
YouTube and Facebook. It will be live on YouTube and Facebook. Former guest Rossi, that works at Recovery Unplugged, is going to be playing guitar and singing some songs with us. we might be sharing some really big news that night. So I would absolutely watch to see if the big news is, and it's not just trying to hook you in. We want you to come see us anyway, but like we might have some fascinating news come November 19th. Yeah, it's going to be an added bonus. It could really, if the news goes the way me and Brian have been praying and hoping for, with some help with Logan and some other people in behind the scenes, T-Bell and people here at Path, it could really spark a new beginning for podcast. Would you say, Brian? And so please join us November 19th for that live podcast. Also, don't forget all of our socials: Instagram, Spotify, Apple Play, all that stuff is at Morning Juice Pod. With that being said, before I leave, Alan, I got your hat on again. We're still praying for you, brother. I talked to you yesterday. You sounded in good spirits. I'm praying that we get some good news. I love you to death. Anybody that wants to know who Alan is, just look up Chase Away Fentanyl 2.0. It's a fascinating story. He gets Narcan for free for towns and stuff to put in these little boxes so people won't overdose on fentanyl. He is a phenomenal man. He has done so much in the recovery world in the past year, and all of us are praying for you, Alan. We love you. And with that being said, juicers, we are out. See you next time.